Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbana la tu'akhizna in nasina wa akhtana. Rabbana wa la tahmil alayna isran kama hamaltahu ala allazina min qablina. Rabbana wa la tuhammilna ma la taqata lana bih. Wa'fu anna waghfir lana warhamna. Anta maulana fansurna ala al-qawmil kafirin. Amin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'al li wazira min ahli. Haruna akhi ushdud bihi azri washghil fi amri kay nusabbihaka katsira wa naskuraka katsira innaka kunta bina basira. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Hello and welcome everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. So we'll start the 19th word today, inshallah, which is on page 243. And before that, I wanted to ask a good question, like how would anybody like to be guided a little bit? To have a desire for a meaningful life, inshallah. So that's something I was thinking about. To live a purposeful, meaningful life, we need some examples, some models, some instructors to take us on that path, on that meaningful purpose in our existence. So we'll start with the 19th word, which is about the messengership of Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him. I could not praise Muhammad with my words. Rather, my words were made praiseworthy by Muhammad. Yes, this word is beautiful. But what makes it so is the most beautiful of all things. The attributes and qualities of Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him. The attributes and qualities of Muhammad. Also, being the 14th flash, this word consists of 14 droplets. So this is interesting. The attributes and qualities of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, which is tied to his messengership, what he portrays, what he signifies, what he leads us to. So we'll see, inshallah, as we move on, and we'll hopefully the discussion will open up. First droplet. There are three great and universal things which make known to us our sustainer. Three great and universal things which make known to us our sustainer. One is the book of the universe, a jot of whose testimony we have heard from the 13 flashes together with the 13th lesson from the Arabic Risale-i-Nur. So the first is the universe, which is also the book of the universe, which teaches us a lot of things. So it's one of the things that makes known to us our sustainer. So another, which is the second, is the seal of the prophets. Peace and blessings be upon him, which is the supreme sign. So he is the supreme sign of the book of the universe. I'm wondering why he's not using Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, but he says another is the seal of the prophets, peace and blessings be upon him, the supreme sign of the book of the universe. I don't know if that's important to ask, but maybe we can address that. The other is the Quran of mighty stature. So the third one is the Quran of mighty stature. So three things. One is the world, the universe, very meaningful. The other is the seal of the prophets, as he says, for referring to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, as being the supreme sign of the book of the universe. So giving meaning to the book of the universe, letting us know what the universe refers to or the meaning refers to. And the third one is the Quran of mighty stature, which also, so all three lets us know our sustainer. Now we must become acquainted with the seal of the prophets, peace be upon him, who is the second and articulate proof, and must listen to him. So we'll focus on the second seal of the prophets, peace be upon him, which is a second articulate proof, he says, which lets us know our sustainer. So any comment so far? Brother Ali, go ahead.
First of all, the first paragraph we read, yes, this word is beautiful. This word is beautiful. The first paragraph before first droplet. Can you just move up a little bit so show us so that we will follow the text? Thank you. So, the word is beautiful. Word is beautiful, but yes, this word is beautiful. But what makes it so beautiful, it means what makes it be beautiful is the most beautiful of all things, or whatever it is just appreciation, pass on it, the attributes and qualities of Muhammad. And why? I mean, everybody agrees, not those people who say that the universe may look beautiful, but because it is meaningless at the end, so it is not really beautiful. We have to suffer for here or try to enjoy ourselves. It means snatch something from the world, enjoy it temporarily, whatever it is, and we will die and disappear. Or those people, the world is not beautiful, but they are very, very small number of people, so we can ignore them. What does it mean? The attributes and qualities of Muhammad, it makes the world really beautiful. Because those people, or whenever we are negligent of the messages of Muhammad, we, as far as we are concerned now, the message that we receive from Muhammad is our concern. The others, we can read and benefit from them, but today, some Christian missionaries came. I appreciate them. Because they are at least talking about God, Yahweh or Jehovah, whatever the name is. When they are courageous people, Muslims don't do that. Unfortunately, I don't blame anyone. I don't do it myself. Go to door and talk to people about we have some Bible studies, why not we have some Quran studies, and here we are, the web page, address, telephone number, concerned people. I appreciated them, really. I was very kind to them, but unfortunately, I was going to join a discussion. And we said, I need them, and their publications. I had read some of their publications when I mentioned them. My usual dress code, my, whatever they call it, this dress, jellab, amame, whatever, it shows that I'm a Muslim, really. So when I told them I read this book and that book in your publications, and I appreciated your translation of the Greek version of the Bible, they were a bit amazed or surprised that a Muslim is talking about their publication and they read and appreciated, etc., not criticizing. Of course, this is important. And he said, they were said that the New Testament is, or Old Testament is translated in our publication in this way. I said, yeah, I don't want to talk Old Testament, New Testament. If we are going to talk, we will talk about Old Testament, New Testament, and the Newest Testament. They were shocked. They were like expecting that the Quran is the Newest Testament. Here we go. Qualities of Muhammad. And also following paragraph will emphasize on the importance of course, the seal of the prophets, plural. Seal of the prophets. That is why the Newest Testament reminded me my today's what happened to my life, in my life this morning. Okay, excuse me. Without the message of the prophets in general, and in particular the seal of the prophets with the Newest Testament. When we look at the universe, even we claim that we believe in God, still we keep complaining. I said everything is created by God, but some things are so horrible, unbearable. Mostly they are beautiful, but sometimes they hurt me. All these demonstrates that the lack of the teachings of the Newest Testament, the prophetic qualities. So we have to understand and evaluate that when we say Muhammad, the prophet, the messenger, we should bear in mind that he is the seal of the prophets. What does it mean? It is original language. He is the Khatam. And we are going to read that in his message, the roots of his message is summarized, or the qualities of the roots of his message is summarized in the form of a fruit of a tree. The roots are there altogether, coming from there. Old Testament, New Testament. But historically older and also newer and the newest Testament. So rather than saying that there will be no other prophet after Muhammad. No, the emphasis we will see here in this text, there will not be none of my business. I am now encountering with the message delivered to us from God by definition. These are by definition. It is not our subject to discuss here why do we believe in such a thing. So our subject is, if you define ourselves as Muslims, and if we define that the Quran is speech of God by definition, we may not be aware of it, about its details. It's fine. It takes time if only we keep studying the message. So we know that in this message I am encountering with, this is the last message for me. But the emphasis must be, there must be, this message is not completely a novelty, completely new thing. No, it has roots. It is a continuation of the sequences of the many prophets and messengers, of course. I mean, when we say prophet, it means Nabi. When we say messenger, it means Rasool. That is to a certain extent important. We may discuss it in another time. Why is it so important? Not because to make the distinction which name is Nabi, which name is Rasul, but making the distinction and having a relationship with Muhammad and Jesus and Moses and also Shuaib, for example, Idris, for example, alayhimus salam. So the seal of the prophet should remind us that this message has its roots from the very beginning of human history, human life on earth. It means God kept sending messages. Now I am receiving the last one, and this is a journey of understanding of the creation throughout human life on earth. So I am here. I have my roots also when I learned the newest message of God, as far as I am concerned, the newest message of God, then I am attaching myself to a history of human life journey on earth. It means I am not alone. The Ummah, when I mean that I belong to a community, this community consists of all the people who followed the prophetic messages. So I have my back. I'm not a new thing. I'm not speaking about something that no one knew before and it came out suddenly. No. All human beings have been addressed and enlightened, guided by, or had been sent guidance to them by our Creator. That gives us the confidence. How? Saying that my God never ever left mankind without any message. So in one way or another, as there are, we read here, the universe is a message, Quran is a message, it means revelation is a message, and the prophets is a message. So when I turn to Kaaba, I don't turn to Kaaba as such a matter. I turn this lineage of the prophets, starting from, as far as the history, known history, Abraham onwards, or Noah, Adam, no one knows historically Adam, but the story is in the paradise as told, as we are told. But here, starting from now onwards, whatever the names are known to us or not, all of them are in the same circle, if you like, around Kaaba. It's very interesting, the circle, not straight line, circular line. It means making a circle around unity, absoluteness of the Creator, Kaaba, and Tawaf, circumambulation, whatever they call it, around Kaaba, walking around Kaaba, is making this circle and tying up myself to the idea of Tawhid, idea of absoluteness of God, together with all the prophets and messengers. That image is very important because the universe itself is, and if we understand the message of the prophet, the universe is really turning around. All galaxies, all stars, all planets, turning around, resembling the circulation of absolute being, the Creator. All of them glorifies the same thing. This image of creation really amazing. It is so satisfactory human beings. So inshallah we will understand that this understanding, this conception of the existence of the universe makes the universe meaningful, as if the whole book expands, goes into details and details the message of the book throughout all his chapters and pages, paragraphs, sentences, even words. So everything makes sense within the whole context of the book, whole context of the existence, whole context of the humankind. Nothing is can be separated and divorced, taken away from this whole complete picture of existence. That is beautiful. I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for the beautiful introduction. So you said the seal of the prophets, you have to think about the roots of the continuous message. And khataman, that's the word for the seal. Khataman Nabiyin in Arabic. So it doesn't mean that there's no other prophets after, but it means that the one, the most recent or the newest, you said, testament or testimony, or is from the attributes and qualities of the Prophet Muhammad. Is that correct, Brother Ali? Before I give it to Adam.
That is what I understood from the text. But in the community, it is understood the seal of the prophet. There will be no prophet, but forget about the root. So read it in the following paragraphs that author says it. I think it was here. So anyways, doesn't matter, but I agree with what you said. It was a summary. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. I'm struggling a little bit to understand some of the points. I think there were a lot of points in there, if I understood correctly. They were good points, but not sure it's clear for me. Was the comment, Brother Ali, that you made regarding the word is beautiful and what makes it so was the attributes and qualities of Muhammad, peace be upon him. Was a lot of what you said related to this, or was it a lot of it on the the statement of seal of the prophets, because I just got a little bit confused as to the. I thought first you were describing this issue of what makes it beautiful, what makes it so.
Does it matter? Because attributes of qualities of Muhammad means all the prophetic message ended up in the New Testament, Middle East updated Testament. So all the same, without these messages, not necessarily only Muhammad's messages, but all its roots as well, the universe is meaningless and definitely not only ugly, but also source of pain for human feelings. Why? Transient and meaningless. I have to struggle here for nothing.
Thank you. Any other comment before we move on? All right, so we'll continue. Yes, consider the collective personality of this proof. Which proof? About the seal of the prophets. Consider the collective personality of this proof. The face of the earth has become his mosque, Mecca his mihrab, and Medina his pulpit. The face of the earth has become his mosque, Mecca his mihrab, and Medina his pulpit. So place of instruction, worship, the whole earth, face of the earth, everything becomes a manifestation of the qualities of its maker, so it becomes a place of worship. Mecca, his mihrab, may be a sense of direction, of keeping on the right path, and Medina, his pulpit of instruction on how to live a meaningful life. Our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, this clear proof, is leader of all the believers, preacher to all mankind, the chief of all the prophets, chief of all the prophets, Lord of all the saints, the leader of a circle for the remembrance of God, the leader of a circle for the remembrance of God, comprising all the prophets and saints. So this usage of our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, is more of a universal use of all the things, all the other chief of all the prophets, Lord of all the saints. So universal in terms of every being, every creation, the whole earth can testify to the messengership or the message that he brings, I would think. So, in a circle of remembrance of God comprising all the prophets and saints. He is a luminous tree whose living roots are all the prophets. A luminous tree whose living roots are all the prophets, and fresh fruits are all the saints. Living roots are all the prophets, and fresh fruits are all the saints. So the result out of his instructions and teachings are the fruits, which are all the saints. So the roots being all the lineage of the prophets, him being the most luminous tree, whose living roots are all the prophets, whose claims all the prophets relying on their miracles, and all the saints relying on their wonder working, confirm and corroborate. So confirm and corroborate his claims of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So all the prophets relying on their miracles are making the same claim. They support that. They are basically through the miracles they are supported to confirm that claim. Or the wonder working is also support to confirm that claim and corroborate. For he declares and claims, there is no God but God. La ilaha illallah. And all on left and right, that is, those luminous reciters of God's names lined up in the past and the future. Repeat the same words. Luminous reciters of God's names lined up in the past and the future. Repeat the same words. And through their consensus, in effect declare, you speak the truth, and what you say is right. What false idea has the power to meddle in a claim which is thus affirmed and corroborated by thousands? So La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God, the Absolute One, is what his message is, what he's proclaiming, and which has been coming through all the other prophets as well, the living roots and the fresh fruits, the saints are also claiming the same message. Fundamentally, it's the same message. And then everybody agrees with that message that is brought, that you speak the truth and what you say is right. What false idea has the power to meddle in a claim which is thus affirmed and corroborated by thousands? Brother Ali, go ahead, please.
Now, there are this first droplet is the introduction of the rest of the whole section, 19th word actually. That's why we have to not only, I feel that I have to concentrate not only sentence by sentence, but rather word by word. So, collective personality. Why collective personality of this proof? Muhammad, the proof of the Muhammad's messengership. Because from the very beginning of history of mankind until the very end, as far as we are concerned now, the message of Muhammad represents. How come? First of all, we have to, the authors is saying that this is the face of the earth where mankind are settled down or living, simply put it, living. That is our home. So, the earth is a mosque. Why? Here and there, everywhere, historically, until now, even will follow, but we will discuss how it will follow in the text. It is a mosque now. And Mecca, his mihrab, where people worship. It means worship what Mecca represents? Kaaba. Kaaba represents absoluteness of God. Humankind only worships or can worship absolute being. The others are just like me, created beings. It is very dehumanizing my human feelings when I worship something like me, needy. All right. Mosque and center of worship, mihrab. And Muhammad, the prophets, and in this period of time, Muhammad is the imam, in mihrab. Medina, his pulpit. What is the difference between mihrab and pulpit? Now, mihrab, where we directly connect ourselves in our rituals to our Creator, consciously being in communication and conversation with Him. But Medina is pulpit. Pulpit is where people are practicing this belief and the rules and disciplines of our life, personal and social life, presented to us and taught. That is, Medina is the place where Muhammad has been receiving the message and only theoretically distributing it or spreading it to mankind as much as he could in his historical context, but generally thinking to whole mankind. That was a sample of the practice, but a simple, limited to time and limit of that time, but universal message in it. But in Medina, this universal theoretical message put into practice. And again, in a limited historical and temporal limitations of this practice performed in Medina by Muhammad, so we can get it from there and apply it to our life. So that adaptation needs special study, and then we can learn from them. That is the difference now. So all the peoples and the prophets are encircled around this worship of God and living according to His will. That is what the message of Muhammad or the prophets are. So that is one thing is very important. What is that? The luminous tree. And the roots are living roots, not dead. Oh, unfortunately, we love to claim that previous messages are dead. No, they are living, but somehow damaged, now under cover of the earth. But they are living. If they were not living roots, the tree would not grow. And what is even more important, if the tree is not alive and would not grow, there would be no fruit. But the fruits are fresh. These words are very carefully chosen. Fresh fruits. What does it mean? Now, in my life, there must be a fresh fruit of the tree of messengership so that I can bite and eat it. It means utilize it theoretically as my center of worship directed to God, and also practically in Medina, in pulpit teachings, practical teachings. So that is that will reflect in my life. How about fresh fruits? Who are they? All of you remember that it is very important to now mention the difference between messenger and prophet. Messenger, Rasool, prophet, Nabi. Messengers cannot be killed. Why? Because they bring the message. Message cannot be killed. According to the Quran, Nabi, Anbiya can be. Why? Because they are just renewing and refreshing the message. That is very important. Refreshing the messenger's message brought before him. So these refreshers are described in the sayings of the Prophet, al-Anbiya, sorry, ulama'ul ummati, ulama'u ummati kal-Anbiya'i Bani Adam. It means Bani Israel. So what does it mean? Anbiya, refreshing every season the message of the Prophet. There must be saints. Whoever refreshes the message of the Prophet, the messenger Muhammad, then he is functioning like the Anbiya of the previous human races, human people, previous peoples. So we have to understand that. Of course, Rasulullah was very careful, not saying that ulama'u ummati kal-anbiya'i, kal-rusuli Israel, Bani Israel. No, anbiya'i Bani Israel. And also here we see the Prophet, one side is Anbiya, Nabi, one side is Rasool. The bringing the message is Rasool. No one can kill Rasool, because the message of God cannot be killed. If it was possible, the universe should not exist, meaningless. So Anbiya, yes. So the saints are fresh fruits. Every century after, any messenger should look for a Nabi, prophet. But after Muhammad, not Nabi, but saints. Whoever refreshes the message of the Prophet is a saint. That's what we have to understand, the concepts of the Quran and concepts of the Hadith narrations and the concepts the Risale uses as borrowing with these concepts from the Quran and the Hadith. Now, carefully make the distinction between these words is very important. So what is the relevance of it to our life? Now it's very relevant. Yeah, I know Muhammadur Rasulullah. No one says Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Nabiyullah. Muhammad Nabiyullah. No, Rasulullah. Why? As a Rasul, I have to confirm his message and follow the Nubuwwah side of it. It means within the practice of it, I have to follow his theoretical teachings, of course, revealed to him by God, the Quran, and also practical side of it. So we cannot separate Mecca from Medina, neither other way around, Medina from Mecca. We have to combine them, so that we will look for the Nabi of the Bani Israel. It means saints of Ummatul Muhammad. Who is this fresh fruit? Where is it? We have to look for it. Where is this fresh fruit that I can eat? Otherwise, the others are not fresh. It needs to be refreshed, because every century is a new season. Now, last summer we had the human beings had fresh fruits, but they are gone. How about this summer? So that is the way God creates Sunnatullah, that the universe is continuously refreshed. So message needs to be continuously refreshed. These are traditionally called mujtahid or mujaddid, depending on which area. Fiqh worshippers call it mujtahid, but belief Did I say fiqh worshippers? It was wrong. It was fiqh followers. Well, some of them was fiqh worshippers, but we don't know who is.
That's your subconscious speaking, Alavi.
Sorry?
That was your subconscious speaking.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. No, I see most of them really follow fiqh rule, not as a means of practice, but as an object of practice of belief. Now,
But can I ask a question? So the fruits, mujtahids, or whatever you want to call them, like, should that be really reduced to only certain individuals? Because if the prophet is the or Rasool is the representation of the universal message.
The first word I didn't understand. I didn't understand. What did you say? First word.
Messengership is the representation of the universal message, the universal truth, or the universal message of the Quran.
Yeah, all the revelation in general.
I'm sorry?
Revelation in general.
Yes.
Okay.
So in that sense, like, no one can truly represent like that, like whoever mujtahid that you refer to, or that would come after him, can never truly be as comprehensive to be the representative of that message. So that's where I'm going to use relativity, but that's not really what I mean too. But like, that's where the message inevitably, there is implications or reflections of it. And for example, in practical terms, you are one part of it, and like Adam is one part of it, Suhail is one part of it, because every individual who is sincerely trying to understand and make sense of the like message, and whatever the truth extract from the message is becoming that like living fruit of that like the tree of that messengership. So it doesn't have to be, I don't think it needs to be reduced only to mujtahids only. If it is, then like it kind of you don't, how can anyone relate to it? Like, then it becomes very almost like a scholarly activity.
Now, for example, a primary school or elementary school teacher teaches mathematics. Correct. High school, yes. College level, yes. And also high degree or graduate studies, yes. And the best one. The best one. So if I am a student of the in the elementary school, definitely I have to listen to the teacher there, the elementary school teacher. Okay, he or she is doing a great job. I have to benefit from it, depending on my level. But I shouldn't stay there. So I keep upgrading my level of understanding. So Suhail, what Suhail wrote, it is, yeah, no one can define ulama or mujtahid. Yeah, but what we are learning from this text, that there are fresh fruits, there must be fresh fruits of this prophetic tree, historically, starting from the first man on earth until now, and this is the tree, and it is fresh fruit. I have to look for the fruit, which is a fresh fruit of the tree. Depending on my capacity, which class, which school I go, which level my education is, depending on my status of belief and practical side of it, my alim will be different. Not necessarily, no one can tell that this is the mujtahid, the mujtahid. Everybody has different level of understanding. Everybody has his or her own mujtahid, teacher. So what we should do, this fruit represents the tree. That is why we have to be very careful whether this teacher is really teaching me the true mathematics. I have to be alarmed. That's it. Nowhere in the literature we find, especially in Nursi's writings, that he is giving a name and saying that this is the mujtahid or our time or mujaddid of our time. And no. Depending on my sensitivity, I will look for the criterion of this fruit. Does this fruit represent the tree of messengership, or something strange? No, depends. Some people like sweet fruit. Some people like soury fruit. Depends. But no one likes poisonous fruit. We have to watch out. Not that we should not look for a criterion, but we shouldn't forget that we should look for a criterion, but we have to be aware that at the end of the day, or at the end of our search journey, we will end up deciding about who is the fresh fruit, depending on my capacity, depending on my conditions. If I say I need a mujtahid which will justify my weak points, etc., okay, you can find there are many, so go ahead. But the first thing, our attention should be drawn to whether this fruit really represents the message. So we have to first grasp the general message of the messengership, and especially in the center where every prophet is circulating, absoluteness of the Creator in every creation. I think these are the very that we are learning, or I have deduced from this paragraph. Very dense paragraph and very practical as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Sohail, you want to comment what you're writing?
Assalamu alaikum. But really not much to add there, other than I guess it also depends on what my expectation is too. So, as what I wrote is, if I'm looking for, if my expectation of belief is external practice or manifestation, and that's my primary concern, then to me, one of the ulama will be somebody who has a high degree of concern with rules and practice and regulation, and maybe that's my expectation, or my expectation is they need to have studied in such and such place and have this ijazah from this teacher. That's my expectation. But if you define Nabi as somebody who represents the Rasool in terms of, and Rasool literally means messenger, what is the message? Message by just definition, while it may have some sort of practical concern, the first and foremost element is that it shapes somebody's worldview. And to me, that's to me the essence of the message. So if somebody's ulama is an individual whose primary concern is that, then I'm not saying I'm not saying it's irrelevant, but it skews the importance a great degree towards that over what the Quranic content is, which mostly doesn't really address practically how to do things. Not saying they're not important at all, but that's barely what it has to do with. It has to do more so with people's perception of the world, and then once somebody has a certain worldview, certain belief, then that informs how they conduct themselves. To me, it's always the other way around.
Thank you for sharing that, Sohail. So fresh fruits. That's fresh is the important word. Yes, Maria, go ahead.
Somebody had a question here. Is Nabi and Rasool the same thing? Like, what are we talking about, pretty much?
There was some mention about the distinction between Nabi and Rasool. So Rasool, as was said, was like Sohail said about the messenger. That's how it's translated. That's tied to a message that is brought. So message that says La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. In this case of Prophet Muhammad. So the message
Receives the revelation. Receives the revelation.
Receives the revelation.
Torah, like Bible, like Quran. Yeah. These are the available revelations known historically to humankind. Nabi is the ones who are refreshing their practices using the previous revelation and practices it. I mean, it is not important, it's just technicality of the words, but what is important, we have to know that Rasul cannot be killed, but the Nabi can. So nowadays, those people who represent the previous, represses the previous message, for example, in our time or in another place, there is a person who was refreshing the message of the Prophet Muhammad, the Quran, and he was killed. Yeah, possible. But killing that man doesn't mean that the Quran is killed. Whereas, if that is understanding of the message, actually, nothing to do that no one can kill Muhammad. No, that is not the point. Although it is true, but that is not the point. The point is, message of God cannot be stopped from delivering to the mankind. But those people who carry the message can be killed. It means they may be muffled up, stopped from doing the message, imprisoned, for example. We see many people who are advocating the Quranic message imprisoned, executed, killed, etc. Oh man, many of them I know historically in Turkey, they were killed. Many of them. In Egypt, they were killed. In Iraq, they were killed. Many of them. But message is still alive. That is why the difference between Rasul and Nabi is important to notice that, Nabi, okay. I mean, people can shut him up, but Rasul, impossible. That is the wisdom of God. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Fariha, any more comment for your friend?
Alhamdulillah. That was
Yeah, Jazakallah. That was nice. Thank you.
All right. I think we are at time right now. So, any final comments by anyone that can be shared? We'll study, I think, next time, inshallah, the second droplet. A short one. But we'll take a look at this. So this was basically the first droplet that we went over what the collective personality of this proof is, how we are in this earth and we need a direction, need a place of worship, what the luminous tree and living roots, living was an important word, living, and then looking for fresh fruits was another thing that we have to look for. All right, so inshallah, no comment. So I guess we can stop here. Inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin bi hurmati suratil Fatiha. Thank you, everyone.